Okay, Itamexistiko, good day. It is just after 5 o'clock in the PM, 1700 hours, on a smoky Friday evening, on the last day of May, the 31st, 2019. Also the tail end of the lunar cycle, Matsi Kapesaki, from the frog moon. And I'm out here at the confluence of the St. Mary's and Old Man Rivers. Thought I'd stop in, do a quick check of the den where I deposited Charlie a week or so ago. Charlie the rattlesnake, who stayed with me over the winter, and he's not there. The den was empty, but I kind of thought it would be. I figured, for whatever reason, I just kind of have a feeling that Charlie's on his way, you know. He's out here doing his thing. So I don't expect to see him again. Not for a while anyway, not till they develop closer to this park. Then I'm going to see all these snakes again. So they do go in my database. Yeah, I figured while I was out here I better do kind of a weekly wrap-up video, because I don't think I've posted since last Friday or Saturday. And my week has gone at a pretty high pace, yet I didn't collect a lot of video. There wasn't a lot that I thought, you know, I didn't have, for one thing, there wasn't a lot of rattlesnake calls. Let's just start there. Let's start with the snakes, because that's what everybody wants to talk about anyway. So I did get one rattlesnake call last Sunday, I believe. Yeah, I think it was the 26th, which I think was last Sunday, and that call was kind of on the extreme west of the west end of Lethbridge, technically maybe even out of the city. We have a little neighborhood along the edge of the coulees there, just across from the blood reserve, called Sunset Acres. And last summer, those of you who were watching the channel might remember they were building some new houses out there, and at one point I had to climb deeply into this culvert pipe to extract a large rattlesnake, who I then released here at Cottonwood Park. So they were building the house at that time, and last Sunday the new resident of that house, the first owner, called the rattlesnake hotline. He had a snake on his property. So I went out there and I extracted the snake. I was a little bit reluctant when I saw what the situation was, because basically, you know, Buddy has a colony of ground squirrels living on his property, and it's not close to his house. It's more out beyond the house, beyond what might be the yard, into the short grass coulees. Probably, you know, still the property technically, but it is wild short grass prairies with a colony of Richardson ground squirrels living there, and that is just prime real estate for summer rattlesnakes. And the snake that I picked up there was a large mature snake. I'm sure snakes are habitual. When they leave the den for the summer, they go to the same place every year, to the same areas and the same haunts, you know, until something disrupts that. And I'm sure that snake has been visiting this ground squirrel colony for as long as, you know, either the colony has been there or the snake has been there once it was discovered. And it wasn't bothering anybody, but I still moved it, you know, because I could see the guy's situation. I took a little bit of video, well, both at the pickup, which I've probably blended into this scene by now, but also at the release. And I think at the release I said a few things that I might just want to play the release video here for you. So check this out. This is the site where I let it go, also in Sunset Acres area. Man, I kind of forgot how spectacular the coulees were out this way. The reserve just across the river. When I first moved to Lethbridge with Mahoney, this was the coulee area that I explored the most. I'm pretty familiar with this stretch of the river here. That's when we were living on Jerry Potts Boulevard. Now I'm living on Jerry Potts Boulevard again. I don't know, maybe I'll start visiting, because I kind of miss this place. Anyway, I felt bad about taking this big mature female snake away from that food source she had there with the ground squirrels and everything. You know, she's just minding her own business, hunting those squirrel colonies. But I can see Buddy's interested in getting her moved, because he's got 3 little boys, and you know, at least when the snake's that close to the house. I didn't move her too far. These are the coulees for the Sunset Acres area, and I found a spot here where it seems like there's a pretty good pocket gopher population. You can see just on the side of the hill here all the excavation from the pocket gophers that are living here. So hopefully she'll have enough food here, and if she doesn't, she'll move to a different place of her choosing. But not back at Buddy's house. Alright, so let's let her go here. I don't need to take a picture of her, because I don't pick up too many snakes from this area. So at least right now I don't think I need her in the photo database. It's a big snake. Big squirrel fed snake. Oh, and a little bit bitey. 3 strikes. 3 strikes in the case. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, come on out on there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pretty large. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Alright, let you down there. Let you down. She's got kind of a droopy lip on the right hand side. I don't know if she's just injured or she just recently ate and is kind of like resetting her jaw, you know, from a big ground squirrel meal. Healthy snake, mature snake. She's a survivor. She's been around, so we'll leave her here. I just gotta get my box and then I'll see ya, honey. Really beautiful area where I released that snake. I spent a lot of time there when I first moved to Lethbridge, and over the last week here I've been thinking to myself, you know, I got to get back out there, and I have justification for doing it, because I don't know, it's weird because it feels almost like private property out there. It's not, I don't think, but maybe it is. It feels like it is, but it feels like it shouldn't be, because it's coulee like this, you know. It's kind of like somebody owning the beaches along the Pacific or something like that. You shouldn't be able to do that, right? When I grew up in Oregon, I know, like, you couldn't own the beaches. You could own, like, just up from the beaches. You could have a resort and what have you, but you can't claim the beaches. And you shouldn't be able to claim these coulees either, I don't think. but doesn't matter what I think in that respect. Any case, I have a reason to visit there, and that reason is that over the past few years I have collected snakes from that neighborhood, and mostly I've taken them back here to Cottonwood, which is not where they belong. It's just the closest place that I have good access to. But really, there's got to be some den sites in those coulees there. I know there is just across the river on the Blood Reserve, the Box Canyon there by old Morris Crow's places. There's some snake dens there, and it's a very famous place because Calf Shirt, the guy who, was really the first rattlesnake wrangler of Lethbridge way back in the 1890s, that was where he was introduced, like where he encountered his snakes and where they adopted him. So it's a snaky place over there. I need to spend some time there. I need to find some of the rookeries, at least over the summer maybe, and that'll give me a good idea where the den sites are. That's my justification to spend time in an awesome place. So what's happened this week? It's been a busy week. It's mostly been, for me, working with school groups. I'm really grateful to the Helen Schuler Nature Center, and in particular its Natural Leaders Project. They're the ones who've been booking me to work in classroom and in the field with a lot of these school groups. And like you've seen, I've kind of been playing on that fine line of what's allowed these days to try to give these kids real experiences. So, and that's, the Natural Leaders Project is a hands-on project. They're supposed to be getting some of these reality experiences. So I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm really grateful that they've been bringing me in as much as they did all week. Almost every day I was 2 or 3 sessions. One day I went up to Calgary because the school districts there are just starting to use me too. But if you're a teacher and you're in Lethbridge, or you know a teacher and you're in Lethbridge, especially a science teacher, you might tell them, check out the Rattlesnakes of Lethbridge Facebook page. There's information about the Natural Leaders Project if you want to get your students signed up for that for the next round, for next season. Now is the time to get going on that, and it's the Helen Schuler Nature Center that you need to contact. So all week I've been working with the students. Something funky happened. I was bringing them out, and we were catching those crawdads, like I think I showed on the last video. Like we were looking at crawdads on the creek bank. First, I was showing them how to make twine from dogbane, and then I was showing them how to catch crawdads, with the idea that if we were out here for a couple of hours with me, I could probably make a fishing line and get a crawdad as bait on that line and put it out there in the pond and catch a pike, and I could have food. I guarantee I could have a pike within 3 hours. Well, I probably am gonna have to eat that. Like somebody's gonna challenge me. Okay, do it, buddy. I think I could have a pike on a line that I made, coming out there with no tools at all. I think I could catch a pike within 3 hours, let's say. It's probably gonna take me 4, but I'm ambitious. Not allowed to catch pike there, by the way. But if I did. Now, one time there, I had a really embarrassing experience. I used to go and catch fish there, and you're not supposed to, right? Actually, well, I won't talk about that. But let's just say you're not supposed to. Let's not get into real legalities. But let's just say you're not supposed to. So I was there, and I was fishing for pike in a place where I knew I wasn't supposed to be, and I was catching them. I was going to eat them, and I figured I was doing the area a favor because a lot of the ducklings at that time are getting eaten by the big pike, and if I cull some of the big pike, it's not a bad thing, right? So I was there, I was fishing, and I caught this, decent sized eatable pike, brought it in, knocked it over the head, killed it. And what I was using right there is a kind of a makeshift, fish holder, was just a bulrush stem, and I run that through his gill and slide him down the bulrush stem, and he sets in the water there. But he was already deceased. Anyway, while I'm fishing, I'm looking around, making sure, nobody's watching me. If anybody was around, I put my gear away and stash it away in the grass and pretend like I'm doing something else. But when I caught that one eatable pike and I put it on the bulrush, right when I was done laying it in the water, I looked up, and here's this guy standing, 2 meters away from me. Kind of a guy that's maybe 20 years older than me, something like that. And he's going to police me. And he's there's no fishing allowed here. Oh yeah. No, I didn't know that actually. Hey, never confess. So no, I didn't know that actually. I had no idea, right? I just hiked in through the coulees and what have you. Oh yeah. He says, I bet you did know. He said, there's signs all over the place. I'm sure you saw them. In fact, I bet that's your Jeep back in the parking lot. And I was like, it's my Jeep. And so he says, I'm gonna go get your tag and report you report a poacher. So Buddy starts hiking back toward the parking lot, and then I think to myself, man, I don't want to go through that report a poacher stuff. So I grab my fish, grab my fishing rod and stuff, and it was so embarrassing. 2 adult mature men hiking back to the parking lot, like race hiking back to the parking lot. I got into my Jeep. I got ahead of that sucker and got into my Jeep and pulled away. He never got my license. If he had, wouldn't have made a difference, because I know some things about the legalities of fishing there. But in any case, I think I could catch a pike there pretty quick with the skills that I was teaching to the students this week. A weird thing happened though midweek. All of a sudden we went there in the morning, the 9 o'clock session I think, and there were no crawdads. And I was thinking, what the heck's going on? There's no crawdads in the river? No crawdads. Couldn't find. Well, we found one finally, a guy that's involved in, like he's a fly fishing guide, hey, and he's really involved in the rivers, and so he was able to finally finagle one from kind of across the river on one of the islands and stuff. He found one, and I was thinking, what the heck, did the crayfish just get tired because I'd brought 5 classes there by that time? Were they upset with me? They decide to all migrate away. Some signal went out to all the crayfish, screw this place. Let's get out of here. It might have been, but by the afternoon I had another session, and at that session I walked across to the island myself, and at that point I found some of the mint plants that I'd been watching for the previous days that used to be on shore were underwater. So the river was rising, and whatever was going on there with the river rising, something happened to the crayfish. I don't know if they went to different, well, obviously they went to some different spot, but where, I have no idea, and why, I have no idea. So it's a good wildlife mystery for me, another thing to follow up on and learn about and learn from, because as I lead these groups out here, it doesn't do me any good to bring 40 students out to the edge of the river and say, let's find crayfish, and not a single one turns up, Anyway, so most of my week was working with the students. I did a couple of skunk traps and releases, those kind of things. I have traps now set up all over the city, but They're not hitting a lot, and I haven't seen any babies yet, so that is yet to come. We'll see what's going to go on in terms of babies. What else happened this week? Well, something very interesting. I had an offer from someone to use their property to, if I need to, in order to shelter wildlife rescues that I'm working with. A lot of times anytime something's going on in the city, and I expect, like this weekend even, I expect there to be some wildlife issue to go on this weekend, maybe a robin fledgling's in trouble or something, and people will post it onto Facebook, onto a pet network or some page on Facebook, and next thing I'll be tagged in that post several times by people that know that, you know, I'll try to help those animals. Hopefully we don't get too many of those this weekend because I'm going to be gone. But this was a person who was a kind of a long-term follower of the YouTube channel, and she has a house that she doesn't stay in right now, but you know, she visits off and on. However, it's a place where she says, you know, she'd feel comfortable if I was bringing some of these animals, if I'm unable to use, you know, if I'm not unable to secure any other facilities in the relationship things that are going on these days, right? So that was pretty cool. I also got a donation this week of a couple large boxes that are made for birds. The guy who made them to transport birds to bird shows, and so he'd put maybe 2 or 3 cages in each of the boxes. But the boxes are nice, I think, potentially to use for birds that come into me that have concussions and that kind of thing. So I get a lot of those birds that have slammed into windows or got smacked by the vehicle, and what they really need most is just quiet and warmth and darkness for about 24, 30, 36 hours. And maybe they pull through and maybe they don't. Hey, it's usually kind of a 50-50 deal. But those boxes are going to be excellent for that. There's 2 of them, and so I've stored those at the new facility. Let's just call it that. I'm not going to I'm not going to show much video of the new facility or give away its location, because I don't know what all it's going to be used for, right? So, but it's out there. It's a new addition, perhaps. Other things in the news, I don't know. You guys saw in my last video, I think that relationship-wise, things were looking on the up for Mahoney and I. In fact, we've been very amicable the last couple of months, but a few days ago things have taken a south turn. I don't know what to think about it, but I'm going away for the weekend, so we'll see where things are when I come back. Hope to take a lot of good video this weekend, going out to a new site neither Chelsea and I have ever hiked to, backcountry site. So that's another reason why I wanted to get this video done and put out there before I leave. When I come back, I'm going to have all new content from the hike out. So I think that's about it. I think that's about a good description of my week. The kind of smoke in the air, I'm not sure where this smoke is coming from. It smells like smoke, and it's obviously very hazy. I don't know if there's fires in the mountains or grass fires. I know there's some fires up north, but I don't think our winds are coming from the north right now, so not sure what this is, but it does kind of match my mood. I need this weekend away. Looking forward to an adventure, and so and sharing that adventure. So I'll check with y'all when I get back.